Hop a day, everybody. Welcome to Vote 2014. My name is Ray Gibson from Newstalk K57, and a guest tonight as we explore the candidates and in this case, the entire overall Democratic strategy with the Majority Leader of the 32nd Guam Legislature, Rory Respicio.
Thank you very much, Ray, and thank you to Sorensen Media Group for giving me an opportunity to communicate with the people.
Absolutely, and thank you very much for the Port of Mocha for giving us a nice place to have an interview. How have you been? It's been a while since you and I have had a chance to talk politics or anything else. What you been up to?
I've been good. I've been very busy. This term is very different. Every term is very different. Yes. But I found myself spending a lot of my time with the Democratic Party of Guam.
Sure.
In the last 7 months, when I ran for party chair, together with Dr. Narissa Underwood and every single member of the Central Executive Committee, we ran into what others would have coined a burning building, where we had generally, essentially no party at all. But we committed to uniting the Democratic Party, recognizing decades of hurt, recognizing and accepting that there's three political giants within our party, Governor Cora Gutierrez, Dr. Robert Underwood, and Congresswoman Madeline Berdalio. And so I'm happy to report, Ray, that everything is by design. Over the last 7 months, the party is alive and well. We have a gubernatorial team. We have 15 candidates for the legislature. And because the party's so effective, we actually have 2 congressional candidates under our banner.
And we'll talk about each of the dynamics of all of that. And going back, as you say, everything by design, but it was a cleverly hidden design. And I know that you personally took a lot of criticism for rushing into that burning building and seeming like there was no end game. And going on listening tours, and well, gee, Rory, what were you hearing at those listening tours? So as you say, all of that was by design, strategic thought.
Well, I know some of the beating came from you, but it's okay. It's okay. There was always an end in sight. Okay. There was always an end in sight, and whenever you go back and reach from deep within, understanding the tenets of the Democratic Party of Guam, what it means to be a Democrat, what it means to be a party of inclusion where you welcome Republicans and independents. And we took this to the streets. We took this to the grassroots to let them determine our gubernatorial team. And so it was a process. It was a process that I'm very happy to report for the last 7 months. It was kind of dark, and oftentimes I was the subject of, if there's anyone that was going to be blamed, it was going to be me. It was going to be Narissa Underwood. It was going to be members of the CEC. But whenever there's an end in sight, and for me, I operate in 24-hour cycles. So whatever happened the day before, that's the past. And I think taking that formula and rebuilding the Democratic Party of Guam from the bottom up, and to have the support of Speaker Wampat, Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz, and the leadership, really, I wouldn't be here today reporting excitedly that we have a team for governor, lieutenant governor, senators, and also for the delegate to Congress.
Now, I was trying to do a count on a number of bills that were introduced or that you've had passed in the 32nd Guam Legislature, recognizing, of course, that's not a very good benchmark for you for a lot of reasons, up to and including your role as the chairman of the Democratic Party of Guam, but also your role as the majority leader, chairman of rules, and things like that. Were there some bills that you really wanted to get out and just didn't have any time this time?
No, I'm actually very happy with my legislative record. I was able, with the support of my colleagues, to secure money for the Tumon precinct to help the police officers. There was also money for the GMH from taxes developed from the new hospital. From the new hospital, yeah, but more importantly, in this last budget cycle, I think the legislature ought to be very proud that we restored funding for the cost of living allowance. We authorized and appropriated money for the hay pay for all of the GovGuam employees, and set aside money for tax refunds. And so
you were talking about the listening tours and some of the issues that came up, and certainly crime is, again, in my mind, the biggest one. What do you have in mind? Is there anything that you roll around with, any speculative legislation that you've written in your head to address some of the issues that we've got with crime?
I think what I really want us to do as a community is to get back to the basics. You know, I think I'm 41 years old right now, but as a 41-year-old, things were very different when I was a teenager, right? We have the advent of the internet and all these technologies that with a lot of good that it comes also a lot of bad. But I just think the government needs to support our men and women in blue, police officers. We also have to go back to, I don't know, Ray.
Do you agree with the numbers? Do you believe that we need more police officers? Certainly support the ones that we have, but I'm of the opinion that we need to get another 100, 150 police officers out there on the streets right now with vehicles with guns and flak jackets and all of that.
The reason why I said I don't know and I kind of hesitated because the things I like to see done are not very popular ideas, but I'm a firm believer in prevention and getting back to rebuilding the family structures. And when I was at the Department of Youth Affairs, I met regularly with the judges, and I pleaded with them to not be so quick to remand these juveniles into the youth correctional facility, but to give our prevention programs a chance. And as a result, the time DYA enjoyed record-breaking recidivism rates, and we were Department of the Year 3 years in a row.
No, I recall.
And the reason why I hesitated, because in any election or in any community, the media demands for immediate results. And so when you have someone like me talking about how prevention works, you don't get those immediate results, but those are things that I like to think about and talk about long term.
And that might take care of the generation that's coming up behind us, but there's a generation right now that has been missed somehow, and we've got to do something about them.
You kind of have to have triage, and there's problems at the Department of Corrections, which goes back to what I've been trying to do with Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz to have the federal government honor the tenets of the compact, where we have deportation of those foreign criminals. Not just compact citizens, but all foreign criminals who have to be deported to where they came from, so that the government's social services are not further strained.
To the degree that we're going to agree on that one as strongly as possible. We've got some undesirable aliens here who don't have seemingly have any means of supporting themselves, and they're not going to school, and they're causing trouble, and they've got to go. But there is also a blossoming population of folks from these same island nations that are doing their best.
Yeah, absolutely.
And going to school and trying to churn things around. How much more time do we give them to get it right?
No, absolutely, and I talk about that all the time. I talked about those citizens who come to the island, who are gainfully employed and become productive members of our community.
And contributing now to our community.
So that's why I was also careful to say foreign criminals, not just a specific sector of our community.
I'm fond, as a manager from time to time, I'm fond of saying the guy that I want to hire for the job is the guy that's going to ask for the job. The camera is in front of you, and if you'd like to ask the people of Guam for another vote and another 2 years at the legislature, now would be the appropriate time.
Well, I certainly want to ask the people of Guam, I want to ask you to please honor me by giving me one of your votes for the legislature. I filed on May 1st because it was Law Day, and the theme is your vote matters and your vote counts. And so I really humbly and respectfully ask that you send me back to the legislature. As I discussed with Ray here, I'm very proud of my legislative record and the things that I'm willing to do to keep our community united and moving forward.
Rory, thanks very much for your time.